Hello everyone. Today in this video we'll be discussing regarding the female reproductive system. So female reproductive system consists of a pair of ovaries, a pair of fallopian tube, uterus, cervix and vagina. So in case of a female reproductive system, the primary sex organs are ovary. Both the gonads, that is testis as well as ovary, are being derived from mesoderm. So here in the female reproductive system, the ovary has two main functions. The first one is the production of ova and the second one is secretion of the hormones. Hormones secreted are estrogens, progesterone, inhibin and actin. So here as the ovary secretes the hormones, ovary is called as an endocrine gland. So the ovaries which are present, these are small, glandular and pink in color, which has 2 to 4 centimeters in length, around 2 centimeters in width and 3 centimeters in thickness. So these ovaries are being attached to the walls of the uterus by the help of ovarian fossa and attached to the peritoneum by the help of ovarian ligament, and they are attached to the body posteriorly by the double folded peritoneum called mesovarium. So if we see the structure of the ovary, the entire ovary is being divided into two regions. One is the outer one and the other one is middle or inner one. Outer region is called as ovarian cortex and it consists of the different sized follicles, and in between the follicles there is presence of the stroma. While the inner region is called as ovarian medulla, which consists of the blood vessels, ovarian ligament and lymph vessels. So as we have discussed in the earlier video, that is regarding the growth and development of the testis, where the testis determining factor is the gene which helps in the initiation of the gonad testis. Similarly, in case of the female reproductive system or the ovary, here also during the 7th week of the embryonic development, the ovarian differentiation or initiation starts. So generally we can say that in case of the human embryonic development, 7th week is a peculiar part where the gonadal differentiation occurs. So in case of the ovarian formation occurs by the help of two genes. The first one is called as WNT4 and the other one is called as DAX1. So these are the two genes which are being present, which are responsible for initiation of the formation of ovary. Now, what is the function of these two genes? WNT4 gene is being located on chromosome number 1, and this particular gene produces a protein that is called as WNT4. So this protein generally stimulates the formation of the female reproductive system and suppresses the male reproductive system. Second one is this particular protein stimulates the formation of the Mullerian duct, and by chance, if this particular protein or the gene fails to express, then there is a possibility that sex reversal may even occur. And next one is the DAX1 gene, and this gene is being located on the X chromosome. So this DAX1 gene acts as a transcription factor, thereby it results in the formation of the gonad, that is ovary. So these two genes play a very vital role in the formation of the ovary. Now, in case of the section of the ovary, so if we discuss in detail, so here if you see that the section of the ovary reveals that there is a presence of an outer layer that is called as parietal peritoneum, and thereafter is one more layer that is called as visceral peritoneum. Parietal is outer, visceral is inner, and below to that of the visceral peritoneum, what we can find is the presence of the germinal epithelium. Remember one thing, that this germinal epithelium which is being present in the ovary starts undergoing mitotic division, and thereby it gives rise to the cells which are called as oogonia or egg mother cells or precursors of the ova. So these oogonia which are being produced or formed, they are around 2 to 3 millions in the ovary, and these oogonia proliferation continues till the young one is being delivered. That is, a girl child is being delivered. Till then, in the ovary, the proliferation of the oogonia continues. And thereafter, here, during this proliferation, these oogonia will form the clusters that is called as egg nest, and later they transformed into the thin tubes. So those tubes of the oogonia are called as egg tubes, and these were discovered by Fludger. Henceforth, they are called as egg tubes of the Fludger. So thereafter, what we can see is the presence of different follicles like primordial, primary, secondary, tertiary, and graphene follicle. So this growth, development, and maturation of the follicles is the entire process called as folliculogenesis. And the folliculogenesis occurs under the influence of follicle stimulating hormone. Okay, so folliculogenesis is growth, development, and maturation of the follicles in the ovary, that is influenced by the FSH, follicle stimulating hormone. So here let us discuss. Say for example, in the beginning, that is what I said, egg nest or which contains the oogonia are also called as ovigerous cords. So these ovigerous cords contain the oocyte, and this oocyte is said to be immature. Later what happens, these ovigerous cords or the oogonia, when they transform into the primordial follicles, and these primordial follicles are 0.03 to 0.05 mm, and this primordial follicle consists of the oocyte, which is a immature primary oocyte, and surrounding that there are presence of the granulosa cells, which are generally flat. So these primordial follicles generally has the oocyte which is dormant, and this primordial follicles gets converted into a primary follicle. So this occurs during the growth phase, and the primary follicles are 0.1 mm in diameter, and you can see the difference between the primordial and primary follicle is the granulosa cells which are present here are flat, whereas the granulosa cells present here are cuboidal in shape, and it contains the primary oocyte. So this primary follicle are around 60,000 to 80,000 in number. So earlier I said that oogonias are 2 to 3 million in the ovary, but when we look after the number of primary follicle, it has been reduced to 60,000 to 80,000. So what has happened to the remaining oogonia? That is, during the growth phase, many of the oogonia enters into the growth phase. So there what happens, due to lack of the nutrients, some of the oogonia or the follicles will die. That death of these follicles is called as follicular atresia, where the number of oogonia reduces to around 60,000 to 80,000 in the fetal life. Later what happens, primary follicles get converted into a secondary follicle, where the number of the granulosa cellular layer has been increased, and along with that there is the initiation of the formation of the thecal cells in the secondary follicle, and this secondary follicle is around 0.2 millimeter in diameter. Later secondary follicle transforms into a tertiary follicle, which is generally around 0.2 to 5 millimeter in diameter. So tertiary follicle is being differentiated or distinguished because here there is a formation of an antrum, and along with that antrum, the tertiary follicle consists of three main types of cells. One is called as cumulus cells, second one is called as granulosa cell, and the last one is called as thecal cell. So here what happens here in the development of these follicles, the primordial, primary and secondary follicle consist of primary oocyte, while tertiary follicle and graphene follicle has secondary oocyte, which means during the development from the secondary follicle into the tertiary follicle, the oocyte which is present inside this undergoes the first meiotic division, whereby the ploidy of the oocyte gets reduced to half. So the primary oocyte gets converted into secondary oocyte. The secondary oocyte consists of the haploid set of chromosomes, that is 23. Now the tertiary follicle later gets converted into a Graafian follicle. So this entire process of primary follicle or primordial follicle getting converted to primary, secondary, tertiary and Graafian. So this entire process occurs after the puberty, whereas the proliferation of oogonia occurs in the fetal life. So before we discuss regarding the cells present in the Graafian follicle, I wanted to ask that what is a difference between a oocyte and a follicle. Oocyte in general is a single cell which further gives rise to the ova, and if the oocyte is being surrounded by the layer of cells, then it is called as a follicle. If it is having a layer, one layer of cell, that is primary. If it is having two layers or more than two, then it is secondary. If there is a formation of an antrum, then it is tertiary. So that goes on occurring under the influence of FSH. Now, let's discuss regarding the structure of Graafian follicle. So the Graafian follicle consists of mainly three types of cells. First one is theca cells, second one is the cumulus cells, third one is the granulosa cells. So, in case of the thecal cells, as I said, they have been already arised from the secondary follicles, and thereafter in the tertiary follicles the thecal cell starts differentiating, and thereafter in the Graafian follicle you can see theca externa and theca interna cells. Now what is the function of these cells? Why they are present? Theca externa cells, generally they are being derived from fibroblast cells, and they contain abundance of the fibrinogen. And apart from that, theca externa cells increases intrapulmonary pressure, and thereby it also helps in the ovulation. That is theca externa cell. Whereas theca interna cells have the receptors for the LH hormone. So whenever the LH hormone is being released, so these receptors will get bind to that of the LH hormone, and once the binding occurs between the receptor and the hormone, these cells, theca interna cells, start secreting androgens, and androgen which is being secreted here is androstenedione. Next is the cumulus cells. Cumulus cells are those cells which generally surround the secondary oocyte, and they form the cumulus oophorus or discus proligerus. Later we have the granulosa cells. Granulosa cells are very, very important because they secrete an enzyme and they secrete a hormone. Enzyme which is secreted by the granulosa cell is aromatase enzyme. So what is the function of this aromatase enzyme? Aromatase enzyme converts the androgen which are being produced by theca interna cells. So the androgen which is produced or secreted is androstenedione. So that androstenedione gets converted into estrogen. To be precise, it is 17-beta estradiol. So that conversion of androstenedione into 17-beta estradiol, so that is being done by the aromatase enzyme secreted by the granulosa cell. Next is a hormone. So hormone secreted by granulosa cell is inhibin. So this inhibin inhibits or suppresses the FSH activity, thereby it regulates the entire process of oogenesis. So this is regarding the cells which are present. Now there is a space here. So that space which is present in the Graafian follicle is a follicular space, and this is filled with follicular fluid or liquor folliculi. So this liquor folliculi generally gives nourishment to that of the granulosa cells. So this is regarding the structure of the Graafian follicle. So here the Graafian follicle which is there, so that is being discovered by Reginald Graff, henceforth the name Graafian follicle. As it contains antrum, it is called as antral follicle, and as it is having the matured secondary oocyte, it is called as matured follicle. Later what happens? Later, under the influence of the luteinizing hormone, the secondary oocyte which is being present, okay, so this secondary oocyte gets released. So during the 14th day of the menstrual cycle, there is increase in the LH levels. So this increased LH levels is called as LH surge. So when the LH surge occurs, the pressure is being created by theca externa as well as the follicular fluid, and thereafter the secondary oocyte which is present, that is released out from the ovary. So this process of releasing of the secondary oocyte from the ovary is called as ovulation. So once the ovulation occurs, the Graafian follicle which is present, that gets ruptured. So this ruptured Graafian follicle now gets filled with the blood. So this blood filled follicle is called as corpus haemorrhagicum. So corpus haemorrhagicum generally consists of the granulosa cells which were existing in the Graafian follicle. So now these granulosa cells, under the influence of the luteinizing hormone, these cells now starts getting converted into the luteal cells. Remember friends, that luteal cells are always yellow in color. For example, you have heard about macula lutea which is present in the eye. So that is yellow spot. Similarly here the luteal cells are also yellow. Why they are yellow? Because they contain a pigment called as lutein. So once the luteal cells are being formed under the influence of the LH, these start proliferating, and later the blood filled follicle now gets converted into a yellow colored body that is called as corpus luteum. So corpus luteum is said to be a temporary endocrine gland, and this corpus luteum secretes progesterone. Progesterone has two main functions. First function is it maintains pregnancy, and second function is it maintains endometrium. So during the 14th day, when the ovulation occurs, the secondary oocyte which is being released, so this secondary oocyte, if it gets fertilized with the sperm, then the progesterone secreted by this structure, corpus luteum, will maintain the pregnancy. By chance, if the secondary oocyte fails, if it fails to get fertilized, then the progesterone levels in the luteum or in the ovary starts increasing. So this increased progesterone levels will give a negative feedback to the hypothalamus or to the pituitary. Thereby the progesterone levels in the ovary now starts decreasing. Now due to decrease of the progesterone level in the ovary, the endometrium which is being present, where the progesterone earlier it was maintaining the endometrium, so this endometrium gets ruptured. So when the endometrium gets ruptured, the blood which is present, the blood vessels will get damaged and the blood starts oozing out. So remember, due to lack of the progesterone, the endometrium gets ruptured, and that results in the first phase of the menstrual cycle, that is bleeding phase or menstrual phase. Later, the corpus luteum, which is yellow colored body, now starts getting converted, that starts degenerating, or it completely regresses in the size, and it forms a white colored structure which is called as corpus albicans. Now this corpus albicans completely degenerates, and thereafter a new cycle starts in case of the female ovary. Okay, so this is about today's class. Today's video, what we have discussed about the female reproductive system, and among them we have discussed about the ovary. So in the next video we will be discussing regarding the parts of the female reproductive system. Thank you.